Today I'm reviewing the Skytech Gaming Aqua Desktop PC with a Ryzen 7 7800 by 3D, AMD RX 9060 XT 16GB, 32GB of DDR5 RAM, 1TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD, and a 360mm liquid cooler. If you want to check current pricing or availability, it's linked below. I've spent real time with this system on my desk, gaming sessions across genres, background apps open, media playback, everyday desktop tasks, and some heavier workloads. These are impressions from actual use, not just looking at the specs. Let's set expectations early. This isn't a compact home theater box or an entry-budget office PC. It's also not chasing absolute flagship GPU performance. What it's built for is capable high-refresh gaming at 1080p and confident 1440p performance with headroom for modern titles, while keeping thermals and noise balanced. In real-world gaming, the Ryzen 7 7800 by 3D paired with the RX 9060 XT feels smooth and consistent. Competitive titles run comfortably at high frame rates with high settings. Modern AAA games at 1440p also stay playable at higher detail levels, though in the most demanding scenes slight tuning back of a few settings helps keep frame pacing consistent. That feels like a realistic trade-off for this GPU tier rather than chasing purely peak benchmark numbers. What matters more in long play sessions than peak figures is stability, and here the system holds a steady performance profile rather than spiking and dropping repeatedly. Thermals and noise behavior are important for daily ownership. With a 360mm liquid cooler on the CPU and a reasonably designed airflow path through the case, temperatures stay in a safe range even under extended load. Fans ramp as needed but remain predictable rather than erratic, and during lighter use, browsing, communication apps, media, the system stays relatively calm and unobtrusive. It never feels like you're fighting rising heat or distracting noise just to get through basic tasks. The 32GB of DDR5-5200 RAM makes multitasking feel smooth. Having games, chat apps, browser tabs, and utilities open at the same time doesn't introduce memory pressure, which feels meaningful in everyday use. If your workflow often involves heavier background tasks alongside gaming, that capacity shows up as fewer pauses and less waiting. The 1TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD keeps system responsiveness solid. Boot times are quick, game loads feel efficient, and general navigation feels snappy. If you accumulate a large library of games or apps, you may eventually add secondary storage. That's more about future expansion than a critique of the included drive. Build quality and layout also matter. The Aqua feels solid on the desk. Internal cabling is tidily routed, airflow isn't obstructed, and nothing feels crowded or rushed inside. The RGB lighting is present and tasteful without overwhelming, noticeable when you want it, subtle when you don't. Now a balanced comparison. If you enjoy building your own machine, you might tailor parts differently, maybe biasing more GPU power for specific titles or adjusting cooling to suit your acoustic preferences. That's often the trade-off with pre-builts: convenience and warranty support versus maximum configurability. If you compare this to a similarly spec'd gaming laptop, the desktop generally offers steadier thermals and sustained performance over long sessions without mobile power and heat limits. This system makes the most sense for buyers who want strong high-refresh 1080p and capable 1440p gaming, prefer a ready-to-run desktop without parts assembly, value abundant memory for multitasking, appreciate stable performance during extended play. It isn't chasing extreme overclocked results or niche aesthetic flourishes. It's focused on practical reliability and everyday gaming confidence. Here's the measured evaluation. The Skytech Gaming Aqua delivers balanced performance that feels consistent and usable across gaming and daily tasks. Memory and storage choices support smooth responsiveness, and the cooling keeps thermals controlled even over longer play periods. The trade-offs, typical for this category, are that in the most demanding titles you may dial back a few settings for tighter pacing, and noise under load is present rather than silent. But if your goal is a sensible, capable gaming desktop with headroom and stability, this feels like a thoughtful choice. Check current pricing below and evaluate it against your needs.